difficult. So over here, Arjuna felt tired and thirsty from hunting, and therefore he went to the bank of the Yamuna along with his dear friend Krishna. So when both Krishna, namely Krishna and Arjuna, Arjuna is sometimes called Krishna, as is Draupadi, reached the bank of Yamuna, they washed their hands and feet and mouths and drank the clear water of Yamuna. And while they were resting and drinking water, they saw a beautiful girl of marriageable age walking alone on the bank of Yamuna. And Krishna asked his friend Arjuna to go forward and ask the girl who she was. By the order of Krishna, Arjuna immediately approached the girl, who was very beautiful. She had an attractive body and nice glittering teeth and smiling face. Arjuna inquired, "My dear girl, you are so beautiful with your raised breast. May I ask you who you are? We are surprised to see you loitering here alone. What is your purpose in coming here? We can guess only that you are searching after a suitable husband. If you don't mind, you can disclose your purpose. I shall try to satisfy you." Very well. So the beautiful girl was the river Yamuna personified. She replied, "Sir, I am the daughter of the sun god, and I am now performing penances and austerity to have Lord Vishnu as my husband. I think he is the supreme person and just suitable to become my husband. I disclose my desire thus because you wanted to know it." So the girl continued, "My dear sir, I know you are the hero Arjuna. So I may further say that I will not accept anyone as my husband beside Lord Vishnu, because he is the only protector of all the living entities and the bestower of liberation for the conditioned souls. I shall be thankful unto you if you pray to Lord Vishnu to become pleased with me." So the girl Yamuna knew it well that Arjuna was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, and that if he would pray, Krishna would never deny his request. To approach Krishna directly may sometimes be futile, but to approach Krishna through his devotees is sure to be successful. Principle teaching us. She further told Arjuna, "My name is Kalindi, and I live within the water of the Yamuna. My father was kind enough to construct a special house for me within the water of the Yamuna, and I have vowed to remain in the water as long as I cannot find Lord Krishna." Hari Bol. The message of the girl Kalindi was duly carried to Krishna by Arjuna, although Krishna, as the super soul of everyone's heart, knew everything. So without further discussion, Krishna immediately accepted Kalindi and asked her to sit down on the chariot. Then all of them approached King Yudhishthira. After this, Krishna was asked by King Yudhishthira to help in constructing a suitable house to be planned by the great architect Vishwakarma, the celestial engineer in the heavenly kingdom. Krishna immediately called for Vishwakarma, and he made him construct a wonderful city according to the desire of King Yudhishthira. Hari Bol. When this city was constructed, Maharaj Yudhishthira requested Krishna to live with them a few days more in order to give them the pleasure of his association. and Krishna always accepts the request of his devotee, and he remained there for many days more. So in the meantime, Krishna engaged in the pastime of offering Khandava forest, which belonged to King Indra. Krishna wanted to give it to Agni, the fire god. Khandava forests contain many varieties of drugs, and Agni required to eat them for rejuvenations. Agni, however, did not touch Khandava forest directly, but requested Krishna to help him. Agni knew that Krishna was very much pleased with him because he had formally given him the Sudarshan disc. Krishna never forget any services. So in order to satisfy Agni, Krishna became the chariot driver of Arjuna, and both went to Khandava forest. After Agni had eaten up the Khandava forest, he was very much pleased. This time, he offered a specific bow known as Gandiva, 4 white horses, 1 chariot, an invincible quiver with 2 specific arrows considered to be talismans, which had so much power that no warrior could counteract them. So when the Khandava forest was being devoured by the fire god Agni, there was a demon of the name Maya who was saved by Arjuna from the devastating fire. For this reason, that former demon became a great friend of Arjuna. And in order to please Arjuna, he constructed a nice assembly house within the city constructed by the Vishwakarma. This assembly house had some corners so puzzling that when Duryodhana came to visit this house, he was misdirected, accepting water as land and land as water. And Duryodhana thus became insulted by the opulence of the Pandavas, and he became their determined enemy. So after a few days, Krishna took permission from King Yudhishthira to return to Dwarka. And when he got permission, he went to his country accompanied by Satyaki, the leader of the Yadus, who were living in Hastinapur with him. Kalindi also returned with Krishna to Dwarka. And after returning, Krishna consulted many learned astrologers to find the suitable moment at which to marry Kalindi. And then he married her with a great pomp. Thus, marriage ceremony gave much pleasure to the relatives of both parties, and all of them enjoyed the great occasion. The king of Avantipur, now known as Ujjain, were named Vinda and Anuvinda. Both kings were under the control of Duryodhana. They had one sister named Mitravinda, who was very qualified, learned, and elegant girl. She was the daughter of one of Krishna's aunts. She was to select her husband in the assembly of princes, but she strongly desired to have Krishna as her husband. So during the assembly for selecting her husband, however, Krishna was present, and he forcibly carried away Mitravinda in the presence of all other royal princes. Being unable to resist Krishna, the princes were left simply looking at each other. After this incident, Krishna married the daughter of the king of Koshal. The king of Koshal province was called Nagnajit. He was very pious and was a follower of the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. His most beautiful daughter was named Satya. Sometimes Satya was called Nagnajiti, for she was the daughter of King Nagnajit. King Nagnajit wanted to give the hand of his daughter to any prince who could defeat seven very strong, stalwart bulls maintained by him. No one in the princely order could defeat the seven bulls, and therefore no one could claim the hand of Satya. So the seven bulls were very strong, and they could hardly bear even the smell of any prince. Many princes approached this kingdom and tried to subdue these bulls. But instead of controlling them, they themselves were defeated. So this news was spread all over the country. And when Krishna heard that the goal Satya could be achieved only by defeating the seven bulls, he prepared himself to go to the kingdom of Kushal. With many soldiers, he approached that part of the country known as Ayodhya, making a regular state visit. When it was known to the king of Kushal that Krishna has come to ask the hand of his daughter, he became very pleased. With great respect and pomp, he welcomed Krishna to the kingdom. And when Krishna approached him, he offered him a suitable sitting place and article for reception. Everything appeared to be very elegant. Krishna also offered him respectful obeisances, thinking him to be his future father-in-law. So when Satya, the daughter of the king Nagnajit, understood that Krishna himself had come to marry her, she was very much pleased that the husband of the goddess of fortune had so kindly come there to accept her. She has cherished the idea of marrying Krishna for a long time and was following the principles of austerities in order to obtain her desired husband. She then began to think, if I have performed any pious activities to the best of my capacity, and if I have sincerely thought all along to have Krishna as my husband, then Krishna may be pleased to fulfill my long cherished desire. So begin to offer prayers to Krishna mentally, thinking, I do not know how the Supreme Personality Godhead can be pleased upon me. He is the Master and Lord of everyone. Even the Goddess of Fortune, whose place is next to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and many other demigods of different planets always offer their respectful obeisances unto the Lord. The Lord also sometimes descends on this earth in different incarnations in order to fulfill the desire of his devotees. He is so exalted and great that I do not know how to satisfy him. So she thought that the Supreme Personality Godhead could be pleased only out of his own causeless mercy upon the devotees. Otherwise, there was no other means to please him. Lord Chaitanya, in the same way, prayed in his Sistatika verses, My Lord, I am your eternal servant. Somehow or other I have fallen into this material existence. If you kindly pick me up and fix me as an atom of dust at your lotus feet, it will be great favor to our eternal servant. So the Lord can be pleased only by humble attitude in the service spirit. The more we render service unto the Lord under the direction of the spiritual master, the more we make advancement on the path of approaching the Lord. We cannot demand any grace or mercy from the Lord because our service rendered to Him. He may accept or not accept our service, but the only means to satisfy the Lord is through the service attitude and nothing else. Haribol. So the king Nagnajit was already a pious king, and having Krishna in his palace, he began to worship him to the best of his knowledge and his capacity. He presented himself before the Lord, thus saying, "My dear Lord, you are the proprietor of the whole cosmic manifestations, and you are Narayan, the best, the rest of all living creatures. You are self-sufficient and pleased with your personal opulence. So how can I offer you anything?" Haribol. And how could I please you by such offering? It is not possible, because I am an insignificant living being, and actually I have no capacity to render any service unto you. Haribol. So Krishna is the super soul of all living creatures. So he could understand the mind of Satya, the daughter of the king Nagnajit. He was also very much pleased with the respectful worship of the king in offering him a sitting place, eatable, residence, etc. He was appreciative, therefore, that both the girl and the father of the girl were anxious to have him as their intimate relative. So he began to smile in a great voice and said, "My dear King Nagnajit, you know very well that anyone in the princely order who is regular in his position will never ask anything from anyone, however exalted he may be. Such a request by a Kshatriya king from another person have been deliberately forbidden in the learned Vedic followers. If a Kshatriya breaks these regulations, his action is condemned by learned scholars. But in spite of this rigid regulative principle, I'm asking you for the hand of your beautiful daughter, just to establish our relationship in return for your great receptions of me." Haribol. You may also be pleased to be informed that in our family tradition, there is no scope of our offering anything in exchange for accepting your daughter. We cannot pay any price which you may impose for delivering her. In other words, Krishna wanted the hand of Satya from the king without fulfilling the conditions of defeating the 7 bulls. So, after hearing the statement of Lord Krishna, King Nagnajit said, "My dear Lord, you are the reservoir of all pleasure, all opulences, and all qualities. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Ji, always lives on your chest. Under these circumstances, who can be a better husband for my daughter? Both myself and my daughter have always prayed for this opportunity. You are the chief of the Yadu dynasty. You may kindly know that from the very beginning, I have made a vow to marry my daughter to a suitable candidate, one who can come out victorious in the test I have devised. I have imposed this test just to understand the prowess and position of my intended son-in-law. You are Lord Krishna, and you are the chief of all heroes I'm sure you shall be able to bring these 7 bulls under control without any difficulty. Until now, they have never been subdued by any prince. Anyone who has attempted to bring them under control has simply had his limbs broken. So King Nagrajit continued his request. Krishna, if you will kindly bridle the 7 bulls and bring them under control, then undoubtedly you will be selected as the desired husband of my daughter, Satya. So after hearing this statement, Krishna could understand that the king did not want to break his vow. Thus, in order to fulfill his desire, he tightened his belt and prepared to fight with the bulls. And he immediately divided himself into 7 Krishna. And which one of them immediately caught hold of a bull and bridled its nose, thus bringing it under control as if it were a plaything. So Krishna dividing himself into the 7 is very significant. It was known to Satya, the daughter of King Nagnajit, that Krishna had already married many other wives, and still she was attached to Krishna. In order to encourage her, he immediately expanded himself into 7. What is the purport? The purport is that Krishna is one, but he has unlimited forms of expansions. He married many hundreds of thousands of wives, but this does not mean that while he was with one wife, the others were bereft of his association. Krishna could associate with each and every wife by his expansions. So when Krishna brought the bulls under his control by bridling their noses, their strength and pride were immediately smashed. The name and fame which the bulls had attained was thus vanquished. And when the bulls had been bridled by Krishna, he pulled them strongly just as a child pulls a toy wooden bull. Upon seeing this advantage of Krishna, King Nagnajit became very much astonished and immediately, with great pleasure, brought his daughter Satya before Krishna and handed her over to him. Krishna also immediately accepted Satya as his wife. Then there was a marriage ceremony with great pomp. The queen of King Nagnajit also were very much pleased because their daughter Satya got Krishna as her husband. Since the king and the queen were very pleased on this auspicious occasion, there was a celebration all over the city in honor of this marriage. Everywhere was heard the sound of the conch and kettle drums and various other vibrations of musics and songs. The learned Brahmanas began to shower their blessings upon the newly married couple. In jubilation, all the inhabitants of the city dressed themselves with colorful garments and ornaments. And King Nagnajit was so pleased that he began to give a dowry to the daughter and son-in-law as follows. So first of all, he gave them 10,000 cows and 3,000 well-dressed young maidservants, ornamented up to their necks. This system of dowry is still current in India, especially for the Kshatriya princess. Also, when a Kshatriya prince is married, at least a dozen maidservants of similar age are given along with the bride. After giving the cows and maid servants, the king also enriched the dowry by giving 9,000 elephants and 100 times more chariot than elephants. This means that he gave 900,000 chariots. And then he gave 100 times more horses than the chariots, or 90 million horses, and 100 times more slave than the horses. Such slave and maid servants was maintained by the royal princes with all provisions, as if they were their own children or family member. What a wealth at that time the king used to have. What a great, we see somebody is billionaire, but what they can compare to this? Nothing. After giving this dowry, as described, the king of the Koshal province bade his daughter and great son-in-law be seated on a chariot, and he allowed them to go to their home, guarded by a division of well-equipped soldiers. And when they were traveling fast to the new home, his heart became enlivened with affection for them. So I think this is the best place that we can stop. We should be punctual in our thinking. And as I said before today, I would like to go for the Bhagavatam class. By His grace, Mukunda Prabhu. If you cannot make it physically, you can always join on mayapurtv.com and then select the Houston live channel, and you will be able to hear Mukunda Prabhu's Bhagavatam class. So thank you very much for joining every morning, and hope and pray that we become more and more put concentrated effort to chant the holy name wonderfully, so we can become totally free from any anxieties or any kind of fear in our life, and we remain always very peaceful. This is just the beginning of our devotional life. It's not end of it, it's just the beginning. That when we come to the level that we have no anxiety, no suffering, no distress in our life, always remain peaceful with no fear in our life, we will know for sure that we have crossed the Namaparad stage and we are entering into the Namabha stage, the clearing stage. But until then, we have to put a lot of effort, and just to make possible, as I requested, that no multitasking when we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Let's make a vow to the holy name that we won't do nothing except reading its syllable and hearing. That's all. And if you do it 6 hours in the morning, what a beautiful day would be. And our life will become so nice, despite living in this rotten material world. So with those thoughts, I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the dusk of these wonderful devotees. And whoever you come across, give them a kind word that their life can also become successful. With those thoughts, I would like to offer my humble obeisances of the devotees who joined from Houston, from Fresno, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Aurora, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Boston, Boise, Atlanta, Phoenix, Tempe, Austin, College Station, San Jose, Portland, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago, Naperville, Philadelphia, Charlotte, Baltimore, Baton Rouge, Alachua, Orlando, Sanford, Jacksonville, San Diego, Loganville, Georgia, Maine, Ottawa, New Orleans, New Delhi, and Pondicherry, and also Saroha joined. I think she was from Kashmir side or Dehradun. Thank you very much, all of you. And if Krishna so desire, we will see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. Till then, remain blissful, always remember Krishna, and make your life a wonderful journey, even living in this material world. So thank you very much.